Hey, well, welcome back, and thanks for tuning in and watching the Cypress Sports Show, brought to you by Coach's Corner, your go-to spot before and after the game. I'm Jeff Russell here with Mark Slevcove. Today, we welcome CIF Commissioner Rob Wigod and Assistant Commish Reiner Wulf to the program. We'll get an update on our spring sports, talk to some more athletes and staff members in our Subs and Grubs segment. How well do you know? Coach, we're getting down to the final days here of the school year. Our CIF sports are just about all done. And we finished up the very long re-leaguing process. Woof, that's quite a task. But we now know where we are headed. We're headed to a 15-team Century Conference. It's going to be definitely a learning curve for us here at Cypress.
You betcha. You know where we're going. Century Conference is currently an 8-team conference, and now it's going to grow to 15 teams. With us, Pacifica, Crean Lutheran, and some Freeway League Fullerton schools to make 15. Again, this takes place not next year, but beginning in the 2024-2025 school year. So all of our sports will be in the Century Conference with the exception of football. Our football team, along with the rest of the county, besides the Trinity League, will be placed into their leagues following the 2023 football season.
Not into their conference.
Into their conference.
Right.
Well, the whole county's in a conference. And it'll be broken down into leagues after the 2023 football season based on our Cal Preps ranking. From 2023, 65% of our ranking will go from 2023 season, 35% from this past 2022 year to determine where we fall in the county.
Yeah, it's going to be a learning process for everyone. We've never dealt with this type of a conference system being in the Empire League or a regular league. So there's going to be some learning. Each sport could essentially have different teams within those 15, right? So you could have a league with baseball with 4 other or so teams, but then basketball is going to have a different set of teams that they'll compete against. So it's going to be a scheduling nightmare. I know you're the scheduling guru for the Empire League currently. I'm not sure you want that job.
Right? Well, it's the fall of the Empire. Maybe it's going to be fall of me scheduling games as well for the league. We will see how that goes. That's all we've known is the Empire League, right? When you were in school here, we were in the Empire League with Los Alamitos and Esperanza. And I think Pacifica and Kennedy were in the league at the time as well. And then Pacifica and Kennedy left. When I was in school, that's when Los Alamitos and Esperanza left. We brought in Century and El Dorado, and we brought in someone else there with Century. Who else did we bring in?
Century, El Dorado.
Kennedy came back. Kennedy came back when I was in school with Century.
Right. Kennedy was there.
And then, we brought in Orange Lutheran for a minute. We had Yorba Linda and Western, and it's completely changed now, and it's going to dissolve after 2023.
Crean Lutheran, Tustin in now, and all that's going to be gone. And not only that, for the first time maybe in the history, the Freeway League, which has currently all been Fullerton High School League, is going to split up, which is giant news because that has been really a focus of the Fullerton District is to keep those 6 teams together. And now those teams are going to be split up into different either conferences or leagues. So that's going to be a learning process as well.
That's right.
A lot of changes coming up, but we'll look forward to that point when we get to it. What's our update for this week?
All right, here we go. We're winding down spring season. First off, there's a huge congratulations to go out to Isabella Chen, our junior diver, who won the girls' California state title for CIF in the 1-meter dive. Not the Southern section, not the SoCal regional, but the entire state of California. And I would imagine if we had a diving competition for the whole universe, she would be right there at the top as well. Yeah. She set and earned a record 546 points in the state event. Way to go, Isabella, and congratulations. This is our first ever state champion in any individual sport. So great job, Isabella, and thank you to Coach Riley for sacrificing and making this opportunity possible for Isabella.
Yeah, I mean, refresh us on how high is our diving board out there on the pool deck?
Our diving board is about a 6-inch concrete platform.
Yeah, we have no diving board. So the fact that she's able to compete doing some stuff off campus and Riley taking her out there, and then to win it all. Tremendous accomplishment. Congratulations, Isabella.
And we hear she's committed to Northwestern for her college. So tremendous student athlete, committed student athlete. Congratulations. Here's the final wrap-up for many of our spring sports. The softball team lost in the quarterfinal on Thursday last week to Capo Valley 4-2. They finished the season as league champions and a 21-4-1 record. They only had 3 seniors this year. They're going to have a lot of girls returning next year, so expect a strong team again next year for Coach Thompson. The track team competed in CIF finals on Saturday at Moore Park. Alan Vuong will continue on to the Masters meet. Only the top 9 out of all of the divisions in CIF Southern Section advanced to the Masters. Alan was one of those that continues on to this Saturday's Masters meet. Best of luck, Alan. And Aiden Houston also competed in the 400 meter, and he placed 8th in the Southern Section Division 1. Not quite good enough to advance in the top 9 of all the divisions. Best of luck, Alan and Coach Iman on Saturday. Boys golf team finished up their season in the Division 1 team championships on Monday at Cross Creek in Temecula. They finished in the top 20 of Division 1.
Yeah,
there you go.
Pretty
Not
solid.
bad. And boys tennis played in the semifinals Wednesday at Cate High School in Carpinteria last week. They lost 12-6, fell a little short, unable to make the CIF finals. But a great season for Coach Paul, and it's not completely done as they have CIF individuals this week at Marina, and they could advance into next week depending on how they do. So we got a few boys and doubles teams headed there that they qualified from our league finals in the Empire League. And finally, the badminton team finished in 4th place in the open division of the playoffs, and they continue this week with CIF individuals at Arcadia.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff this year. A great end to a great year for Cypress. We're going to talk more about that next week as we look at all our successes from this year and celebrate those athletes one last time in next week's episode. Until then, let's check out this week's Subs and Grubs segment where we ask our athletes and staff how well they know the CIF Diving Championship in respect, of course, in honor of our champion. Here's what they had to say.
All right, we're here with Captain Manera. All right, we're out here with swim and dive coach Riley Saldana. All right, we're out here with Mr. Fournier at the physics boat races today. All right, we're here with baseball players Chewy Thomas, Avery Covarrubias. All right, we're here with senior track and field star, CIF finalist, Masters meet competitor in the high jump, Alan Vuong. All right, we're here with California state diving champion, Isabella Chen. A record-setting performance last week. We want to know how well you know your sport, diving. Do we have diving at Cypress High?
Apparently, I just found that out. But yes, apparently we have diving.
Where do you think we dive?
I don't know. Out there in the pool. They must bring out the diving board. Yeah, during competition.
What Cypress student just won the state diving championship for all of California?
I know it's a girl, right?
Yeah,
I know it's a girl.
Michael Caine.
California, okay.
Did you see her name? Do you know who it is?
No, okay. Is this the first year this is happening, or? No, I did not see her name, but congratulations to her.
I don't know her name. I know what she looks like. I don't know her name.
I know what she looks like, yeah, I don't know her name.
Okay.
I believe that's Isabella Chen.
Isabella Chen. Me?
How high was the diving board for Isabella to dive off of?
Congratulations, Isabella. I think it was, how high? But aren't there competitions like different levels? I'm gonna say the highest one, 100 feet.
70 feet.
25 feet.
Which one?
70.
Alright, sure.
70?
No, it's
that
not
a lot?
70. It's like 25, no?
How high was the diving board? It's got at least 50 feet. Yeah.
It's gotta be
too
25.
short.
No, it's 25. I'll go 25.
I jumped like
Is it
25.
close? 50?
5 meters.
No, 45.
It's gotta be like 70.
30,
70
37.
I mean, you dive, it's like
Not
200.
It's under 50.
No, it's under 100, but
Under
it's,
50.
it's higher than 50.
No,
1 meter, but she has competed off the 3 meter as well.
it's not. That's too high.
No,
not in
that's
high
not.
school. No, it's gonna be under 50.
Under that.
Under 50.
Okay.
Final answer, 37.
1 meter.
How many individual state champions has Cypress ever had?
2.
Ooh, I think it's only 1.
1.
The one? Isabella?
1.
1.
1.
Yeah.
Which is a diving term? Out of these three, an ollie, a gainer, or triple axel?
Triple axle.
All of them.
All the above.
All of them. I know a gainer's one of them.
Yeah, and ollie's one.
And ollie's one of them. And the last one.
What's
that
that? Triple axle. Is that what it's called? Triple
Axel jump.
Yeah,
It's one of them.
all three.
All 3.
I want to say none of those, but if I had to pick, I would say it was ollie, gainer, or triple axle. Gainer, but I didn't hear any of those terms.
Triple axle.
Okay, so process of elimination here. Ollie is a skateboard term. And a triple axel is a figure skating term because I'm obsessed with Winter Olympics. So it must be the second one. What was it called?
A gainer.
A gainer. Yes, gainer.
A gainer.
All right, this one takes you back, but you teach film, so this was a classic film here. What epic dive did Rodney Dangerfield do in the movie Back to School?
Oh my god, I don't know. The swan dive.
I have not a single clue.
Belly flop.
A backflip.
I don't know.
Do you know who Rodney Dangerfield
No,
is?
I don't.
You'll have to look it up. YouTube it.
Okay.
The triple one. The triple diver thingy. Where he flips.
Yeah, triple. Back,
I don't know what it's called. What's it called again?
Good try. Good try.
Triple.
What dive is he gonna do? The triple Lindy.
This one will be tough. What term is used in both diving and water polo?
We'll always remember our first video when you asked about the egg beater. So the egg beater.
I don't
Swimming.
Entry?
Diving and water polo. Oh, of course, it's the backhand.
Power.
Splash.
Nothing?
No, I have no idea.
Okay. What does it mean to rip a dive?
To kill it, to crush it.
Rip
It
a
means to
dive.
like mess it up, right?
No. Like you bombed it. Like you did a good job. Like you ripped that thing. You know? Like you rip a
Oh,
wave.
like a rip.
You rip it.
Rip a line drive,
Yep.
kind of.
Yeah, you ripped
Same
it.
that- same
It's a
that.
good thing.
Rip a dive. I believe that's a bad start off the board.
Belly flop.
To rip a dive, when you tear a piece of paper while you fall into the water.
When you enter the water with no splash.
Did you do that last week a lot?
A little bit.
Last one. What dive would Coach Lumberg be best at?
Belly flop.
Oh man, the cannonball dive.
Belly flop.
Belly flop or a cannonball.
Inward half pipe.
I'm thinking front 4.5.
Hey, well, there you have it. Today, we are so excited to welcome two guys who know just a little bit about CIF championships. We have CIF Commissioner Rob Wigod here and Assistant Commish Reiner Wulf. Thanks for being here, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Our pleasure. You guys know a little bit about the CIF, I would imagine, right? Last week, we did how well do you know the CIF Southern Section? One of the questions was how many schools are in the CIF Southern Section?
560.
Are we sure?
We are sure.
Do we need to check it?
There were more when I first started 15 years ago, but now we're down to about 560.
Pushed a couple out.
Oxford left, right?
Few left. Few went
Oxford,
to the...
no, they're still in.
They're still there, but
and
some of the far
there.
north group went.
That's right.
Some of them went, so okay.
All right.
Easier competition in the central section.
That's what they were looking for. It was too hard for them to compete in our section, I think.
There you go. We also asked what CIF stands for. Surprisingly, we didn't get a lot of correct answers. I'll go to Reiner on this. CIF stands for?
Can't include fun. No. It's California Interscholastic Federation.
Very good. You guys are so far 2 for 2. We asked what the largest school district with the most teams?
Public school district with the most schools in the southern section.
I think Anaheim would be close. I think you have 9.
We have 9.
Yep.
And I think Riverside has 9. I think those might be the 2 largest public school districts we have.
We might have forgot Riverside, but we don't. We said
Can you update their website?
Yes, yeah, we got to get that fixed. So this week we're coming out of it and we're going, what do we know about the CIF Dive Championships? And we don't have a diving board here, so that struggles. But we had a champion here. So anyways, before we get to that, I'm going to have Coach Slevcove ask a couple questions from this week's How Well Do You Know?
Yep. So we had our first state champion ever from Cypress High School in the diving championships, Isabella Chen, a junior from the 1 meter dive. So we just have a couple questions regarding diving. Let's see if you guys know these things. Which one of the following here is a diving term? Is it an ollie, a gainer, or triple axel?
It'd be a gainer.
Gainer.
Easy for you guys.
Good warm up.
Well, this will take you back then. What epic dive did Rodney Dangerfield do in the movie Back to School back in the 80s?
I know. The Triple Indy.
Yes! That's it.
I asked a couple students today, do you even know who Rodney Dangerfield is? And they were like, we have no idea what you're talking about. So I was
Well, they
like,
always say Rob looks like Don Rickles, but
a little bit. I can see it.
I get no respect.
All right, here we got a couple more here. What term is used in both diving and water polo? Common term in water polo, if someone gets 3 fouls.
exclusion.
Another term for it.
Yeah, different term. Or if you just get 1. If you get 1, you're
Disqualified?
Well, the official goes, and we call it a...
It's a kick out. You guys were on the right track. Just the wrong term, but
okay. Yeah, we call exclusion.
Yeah.
We don't call it kick out, and well, they do.
Nah.
All right.
What does it mean to rip a dive?
That means that you go through the water with very little splash.
Look at these guys.
It's
like they know something.
got a lot of
Wait a
experience.
minute now. My first 7 years as a Southern Section Assistant Commissioner, swimming and diving was one of my sports.
Okay.
So I certainly had some direct relationship with diving and
The
putting on the
only
championships.
diving I know is when I coached against Coach Russell's basketball teams, and his team would always take dives.
That's the old flop.
Yeah, that's the
yeah.
We call it a dive.
We'll have to do this for Wigod here instead of Coach Lumber.
That's not fair. That's
we'll
not
ask
fair.
that. Well, we can ask Reiner too. Go
Well,
ahead.
the last one we got our wrestling coach John Lumberg,
do you guys know
Big John
Coach
Lumberg.
John?
What dive would he be best at?
Cannonball.
No.
Great answer.
Triple India. I would think.
Great answer. We win belly flop.
You can do that too. You can do that too.
There you go.
All right. Well, it seems like you guys have both been around here for quite a while. Not saying you guys are old or anything, but you've been doing the job for a while. Give us the quick rundown. When did we start? How long has it been for each of you in your time at the Southern Section?
2008, in May of 2008, I was hired, so I'll be completing my 15th year. Doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it's been 15 years, and it's been a great run.
For me, I began as Assistant Commissioner in 2000, so this is my 23rd year. First 11 as Assistant Commissioner, and now 12 years as Commissioner.
Is it a different dynamic now? When you started, you both worked together as assistants. You guys are friends, and now the commish and the assistant commish. not the boss, kind of relationship, but I know you guys are good friends. How'd that dynamic change when you
Well, I'd never look at Reiner as an assistant commissioner. I look at him as a commissioner. He's every bit as what I am, and I think he approaches the job the same way. And he's been incredibly important and valuable as kind of that guy right next to me. And so again, it wasn't like I was at one position and he was at another. I think we've been pretty collaborative over the years, and as I said, I've relied on him a lot. He's been a real backbone of a lot of things that we do. So I just never thought of him as anything except what I am.
I've always. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, for me, it was like my office. I would just go out and make a left, and I'd be in his office. Now I have to go out and make a right, and a couple extra steps to get to his office. But we've always been so collaborative from the start on everything. I mean, he was huge when I first got the job, because just like being an athletic director, I mean, you get hired as the athletic director, and there's no book. You kind of figure it out based upon talking to people and so forth. And Rob was real helpful when I first came in to kind of show how we did. He ran this class he called Assistant Commissioner 101, and it was huge because it really got me caught up and mainly confident, because I dive into basketball, which I was familiar with, but then I'm doing track and field, cross country, tennis, which I'm not that familiar with. But Rob also did sports. He mentioned swimming and diving and water polo. Those aren't sports that he necessarily was exposed to, but he ran them like a professional, and so it taught me how to do that and how to rely upon committees and the expertise that we have in the Southern Section. We have some great people, and you got to lean on them and seek advice and let them do their job.
Well, I've always appreciated the professionalism that you guys have shown individually in your office all the time. Anytime someone needs an answer, and you guys always handle it so professionally. And you also mentioned collaboration. That's a big term in our school district. As successful athletes growing up and then moving into education and then to the CIF office, how has your athletic experience helped you in this career in education-based athletics using things like collaboration?
Well, I would say Reiner was a very successful high school student athlete and college Division I athlete. I certainly was not. But I did learn a lot, and I really loved high school sports when I played it, and that's why I think I wanted to be involved in it after I left, because I really missed it. So becoming a coach and an athletic director and a teacher and all those things. But, I would say that learning to get along with people, learning to deal with adversity, learning to, go through the tough times when it's just not going your way. It's hot, it's cold, it's windy, it's whatever it might be, but, you can't be dissuaded from what you're trying to do. And so I think we learn so many things, and I think students continue to learn so many things from being part of high school athletics, and I think that's why I've always just enjoyed having a career in something that I really, really love.
Yeah, when I was small, I was young growing up in Monterey Park. I used to get the local newspaper, and I would follow all the sports teams, including the high school teams. And my first basketball coach was a great influence on me, and we would go to all the best high school tournaments, and we would sit all day and just watch, at the Covina tournament and the bigger tournaments in the San Gabriel Valley. And I just always I always read box scores back when they actually were box scores. And there was a thing called the newspaper that came every day on your front porch. And you could follow all the better players in your area, and then strive that you eventually want to get to that point, and how cool it would be. And always keeping track of names and how is so and so doing, and just kind of it was always just part of who I have become, and part of I like history, and it has a historical basis as well. I mean, Rob and I are both history teachers. We taught U.S. history and civics and those classes, and I think there's something there between understanding where things have come, how things have evolved from a historical sense, and now to be able to have my last 15 years of my working career doing the best part of my job when I was teaching and coaching as well. I mean, it was been a dream job.
Very cool. Moving from coaching kids to being in an office was obviously a change for you guys. Do you still miss that part of life? Have you any thoughts of getting back into coaching now that you have more time?
I've been very clear that I miss coaching every day. I always have. I loved it. I thought about getting back to it. I promised my wife the first year of retirement I would not. She said, for 40 years, you've said, we can't go here because you have a game. we can't do this because it's practice. We can't do, and I understand that, and it's fair. So I definitely have thought about that. I do miss it. It's a special relationship that all of you know, the relationships that you get to build with those students, and the journey that you go on every season, and what every season has its ups and downs and its particular quirks to it. So that's an environment that I really always loved, and have missed. So it may not be too far along before I'm back out. We'll see.
Breaking news.
We'll see.
right.
We'll see.
His wife may not be happy, but
Well, for me, I really enjoy the teaching part of coaching, and I think that, and probably the game planning was always the fun thing for me. But I haven't coached in basketball since 2004, 2005, so the game has changed a lot, and the whole dynamics of the club and just that it was hard for me to see myself diving back into that anymore. I think I'm too smart for that. But I do see myself continuing in the field of coaching, in the sense that I would like to. I've had so many years of experience in athletics, and I've met so many great people that I think there's a need out there to coach schools or school districts on how to build athletic programs and do evaluations, and be an ally for schools, be an ally for school districts, and look and see where their weaknesses, and do some consulting work like that. So I think I have some expertise in that. I have friends who want to jump aboard, so I think that's something I'm going to look into.
nice. Well, we do have 2 available stipends for girls flag football. You wouldn't have to worry about relearning basketball. We can all learn the new sport
I actually
together.
thought about becoming a referee. I thought that would be fun. Be a flag football referee.
We always say the best refereeing job is water polo. We talk about it all the time.
Really?
They're about an
10
hour
paces.
long. Yep.
Yeah,
you don't
but
have
you
to
can't
watch
see
much.
anything that's happening.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
blow
but you
your,
got the
you just-
whistle.
you just make it
and
up.
nobody knows.
Nobody knows. I agree.
You blow your
I
whistle
agree.
every once in a while. Kick.
Yeah.
Exclude
Yeah.
some people. Walk back
Okay.
and forth. Nobody can yell at you. Just go, "Huh?"
Who gets yelled at less than a water polo official?
You're out in an
Not
hour?
a basketball official.
It's
Not
an
a
hour
football
game.
official.
You work
Not
a
an
triple
umpire.
header,
Triple
3
header,
paychecks.
3 games. Yeah.
There you go.
Pair of white pants and a white shirt, and you're in.
Get splashed a little bit, but
Yeah.
See, I'm making you think about it.
okay.
I think we've seen someone in your office working our pool decks.
Yes, you
right?
have.
Water polo.
Yes, you have. He's one of the top officials anywhere. Miss Carty.
Yep.
He's a very good official.
All right, so looking back, some of the challenges you guys have worked through over the years, you mentioned club basketball, club sports, how it coexists with high school athletics. Where are we at now in the relationship between club and high school, and where do we need to get to?
I think that the education-based athletics is who we are, and we're the only ones that do it. And the one thing that I know we've all seen and we all experience is just those that want to make high school sports into a business and take away kind of the educational piece that we really are about. And it's only about the sport, and it's only about what you could do at the next level in that sport. And I believe that us as educators and our role as education-based athletics is teach the whole student. It's physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's social, it's all the things. And I think that's what we do. And I worry about the change and the shift away from that, the influence of club. Reiner talks about this all the time, talking about club coaches that have now come into the high school arena and kind of believe it's the same kind of environment where it really isn't. They're not in a situation with students in class all day and doing certain things that they need to do just to get out there on the court, when you play basketball or whatever it might be. So that's a concern that I have, just that we somehow can maintain the purity, if you will, of high school education and high school athletics as part of the education, because I think we're the only ones that do it, and I'd like us to always be in a strong position to keep that.
Yeah, I think high school competition requires cooperation. There has to be cooperation from the officials, the schools, the players, the student body, the fans, parents, everyone. And when one of those pieces gets thrown off a little bit, that's when we have problems. And unfortunately, as Rob was mentioning, the club aspect, we see all the time during the club basketball season on YouTube or online. They show, this referee was attacked and these two coaches are fighting, and that's I guess, kind of the norm there. But that's not here. I mean, we need to check each other. We need to make sure that the parents understand this is a different environment. The kids understand this is something bigger than just you and your club team trying to get a college scholarship. This is representing your school, representing the community, representing your families, and all of those people involved have a piece in that cooperation. And I think that's something that really has to be addressed going forward, because it leads into the shortage of officials. Because we're encouraging coaches, give us your 19, 20-year-olds, just graduate, get them into officiating. Well, they go, they take the classes, they come to a game, and then they get chased out to the parking lot. They're going, what the heck? Why would I want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the schools have a responsibility, the units have a responsibility. And there's all this cooperation has to take place for this to work. And we got to somehow retool this to get that cooperation going.
Yeah, well, I never liked putting names on the back of the jerseys. You know, I'm all the old high school's about the name on the front. And I believe in that. Part of the problem we have as ADs, and I know a lot of schools, you guys probably deal with this, you kind of made mention of it, is, you know, getting coaches. You said you got club coaches coming into high school. They may not be exactly what we want, but we're at a shortage of coaches as well. What can districts do, or how can we encourage people to want to coach and be a part of making a difference in a young person's life? I mean, it's tough.
I think that leadership needs to support coaches, obviously. I think we always refer to them as teacher coaches and give them the respect that I believe they deserve as teachers. I think sometimes that's just a coach out there, but those are teacher coaches. They're doing a lot of teaching. I think that administrators need to support coaches, especially as it relates to parents and issues that go on where coaches set standards and coaches want to run programs at a certain way, and they need to have support to do that from their administrators and hold the line when they need to hold the line and teach the right things about discipline and accountability and things that sometimes, you know, coaches may have the rug pulled out from under them in a case like that. So, you know, just like anything else, teachers need to be mentored and coaches need to be mentored and supported and given the tools and the backing necessary to do the job effectively. And, you know, that's maybe what Reiner's talking about. You know, maybe guys like us that have been around a while and have a few things to, you know, draw upon when it comes to experiences, that we do more to help younger coaches and keep younger coaches involved. You know, I'd love to see more people that want to be teachers. I think we've seen, and I don't blame young people that for a lot of years they were trying to become a teacher was a no-end proposition. You were going to finish your schooling and have nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about there's a shortage of teachers, and maybe there's some more opportunities for college-educated teachers to get credentials and be coaches as well, because I think that's always a role we like to have on our campuses. So there's a lot that needs to be done. I don't think there's any question about that.
I think that the successful athletic programs tend to have some kind of a plan in place. You know, call it an action plan, where it's continually it's 3-year goals, it's 4-year or 5-year goals. You know, that what they're doing within their athletic department. That's all comprehensive. It's talking about all different aspects of the athletic program. Part of that has to be the coaches and what is the expectation of a coach at Cypress High School. If I'm I moved into the area, I come to Cypress High School to watch a football game. What do you as the leaders in the athletic department, what should our coaching staff look like? Should it be a bunch of guys with their hats on backwards? One guy's in a tank top, one guy's in shorts. Is that what Cypress athletics is all about? I don't think so. But there are some schools where I don't think it's as detailed as that. And so when you have coaches coming in who are walk-ons, who aren't necessarily on-campus teachers all the time, they come in the afternoon, they have to be embraced and brought into that culture that you've developed on your campus. This is what a Cypress coach looks like, not a football coach, a Cypress coach, or whatever school you're at. This is what we expect. And then hold those coaches accountable to, you know, behavior with officials, communication with parents, how they look on the sideline, and that has to be ongoing. It has to be continually reevaluated and looked at. But that's where I think that's where you can get growth in almost any athletic department is that there's a plan in place. Because sometimes as athletic directors, we feel like your job as a firefighter is you're just putting out that fire, going over here, oh, you got this going on, and you never really get the opportunity to really build the things that I'm talking about. And I think that's where I got the most fun when I was an athletic director for 10 years, was putting a vision to the athletic program.
Yeah, I will say for one of the things for me personally about you guys and the success and when you're saying expectations, you do a really good job of being clear what the expectations are from the CIF section of, character and how we're supposed to act. And it's detailed in the Blue Book and everywhere about what you guys expect. And that success doesn't come without, troubles and things like that. But I can remember back to playing you in the Anaheim Convention Center, losing with Nick Punto in a little tournament.
Nick Punto?
It's a bad call. Yeah. It's a bad call against you.
Yeah. And I remember being the basketball coach, and here's the CIF commissioner, or I think you were the commissioner at the time, maybe the assistant, I don't know, but 2 rows up in our game. And the fact that you guys would come and watch those things and be a part, and I've seen you at tournaments, and you have so much other things to do, but the fact that you would come to those things creates a sense of wanting to believe in your expectations for the entire CIF section, because you show that you care about stuff. And again, those successes don't come without struggles as well. So what have been like some of the toughest things in your job that maybe you'll be happy leaving, or maybe it'll be something that you still feel like is unfinished business for our next appointments?
Well, I think my thought was always that we do this together. You're here every day impacting young people. Every day. You're here doing that work. Our job is to support you to do that. We don't have that day-to-day connection with the student anymore. So how are we involved when you're doing so much of that? And I always looked at it that way. We're doing this together for young people. To your point about we wanted to know you and we wanted you to know us. That was always and has been our mission, to where we didn't want to be this organization that was nameless and faceless that no one felt connected to. I thought it was really important for us, and I started that as an assistant commissioner, and I thought, almost challenged myself, because as athletic director, I don't know that I felt that connected to the Southern section, but I wanted to be that person that people knew, and I knew them. And as commissioner, I've tried to do that, and our staff, I think, all embraces that idea. So that's why you would see us at a game, or you'd talk to us or whatever, and you would be able to walk up and say, hi, Rob, and hi, Jeff. And I mean, it was just, that's always been our part of this, that we had to support you and wanted to support you. So, the challenges are, really, officiating is a huge challenge going forward. I'm really worried about where that's going to go. We have problems that everyone sort of has a role to play. Our officials need to have a role in mentoring and training and giving good assignments. Our schools got to do a better job of treatment of officials, and it's just a multi-level and faceted problem. But I think as a regret of unfinished business would be, I wish we were more stabilized in the officiating world, because I know it's impacting you, changing schedules, having to do a lot of different adjusting because, you just don't have the officials to cover. And the saddest part, is those officials that are actually working, are still getting this terrible treatment. And I almost feel like saying, wait a minute, these are the ones that are still with us, that are still doing it, and yet they're being treated poorly and leaving it, and we need to bring the younger group up, and we have to show the younger group this is something that's valuable that you want to get involved in. I'll just, coaches forget, we say to the coaches, identify one of your students who's graduating and going on to junior college. Maybe they want to get involved in officiating, but they forget that student watched you coach for 3 years, and you're unmerciful on the officials. And they watched you and they thought, why would I ever want to do that? Yeah. So that's a role our coaches need to play too, is kind of encourage them, not only by saying you should do it, but show them that going out there to be an official isn't something that is going to be that terrible experience. Yeah. And I think that, again, we all have a role to play in that.
Reiner, how about the tough parts of the job? 15 years ago when you started, what's one goal that you set out to accomplish? And
I would say, like, when I was a basketball coach for many years and then an athletic director and basketball coach, the last people I ever wanted to hear from was the CIF office. It was because it was never good news. Right. Whether it was a letter or it was a phone call, please call the CIF. It was like, oh my gosh, mess. We messed something up. And then as I got a little bit longer in my tenure as an athletic director, and I got involved in some of the committees, and I started to meet the people, and particularly Rob. And I give Rob most of the credit to the softening. And I don't want to say softening isn't the right word, but it's almost like a thawing of the the feel of who the CIF office is, because it was like bunker mentality. It was like you didn't want to call them because you something went wrong, or you weren't, the person on the other end wasn't going to be very nice, and it was just like it's like calling, to get test results from a doctor, and you're scared to death of what they're going to say. But I met Rob before I was at the office, and he was completely different. And it wasn't that the other people were bad people. They weren't. It was just that's how they were brought up. That this was, it was kind of us versus them. And Rob really brought in a whole different feel within the office staff and expectations for the office staff in responding to phone calls and things like that really have changed. And there are people on the executive committee who were on it when I started, and they're coming off now, and they felt it as well. And he's responsible for a lot of it because that's the way he is, and that was his expectation. We were going to be the epitome of service. The schools were our clients, and they deserve, if there's a phone call, we should be responding to it. If there's an email, if you don't have the answer, respond to them, get the answer, then get back to them. It wasn't just just blowing stuff off. And so that really has changed a lot. I would say the hardest part of the job for me was many times you have to take away things from kids for mistakes of adults. When you're taking a team out of the playoffs because some coaching mistake, or something that happened, or taking away eligibility because of what. And so that's always the hard part, but that's the nature of what we do. What we have is we're running high school youth sports, and that's the hardest part. That is part of the job.
Let's finish on a good positive thing here. A lot of changes over your guys' time at CIF. During that time, what would be your biggest accomplishment that you're leaving the CIF office right now? What's the biggest one?
I think probably the competitive equity playoff system. I think we worked really hard to try to look for solutions to issues where schools just weren't getting an opportunity. And we believe that what's happened over the last few years since it's been implemented, that it's made a big difference in closer games, especially early in the playoffs. But more importantly, schools having opportunities they've never had or haven't had in a very long time, and having a chance. Whether they win or not wasn't the test.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance? Did you have a chance to compete? And I think that's something I'm very proud of. And our schools, it's still going to get better. We're going to be using more accurate data. We're going to be using more current season data like we're using in football. So it's even going to continue to get better. But I would say that, looking at what made a difference for students and coaches and communities and schools is probably that they're finding themselves in the semifinals or the finals, or they hadn't been there in 35 years or something like that. And that, to me, has been very special to watch that happen.
Yeah, in our district, Magnolia just won their first CIF
ever.
championship ever in soccer, or in any sport, but in soccer.
Since the school
And your last
started.
message, you wrote about in-season current data for all sports, not just football. How close are we for many other sports coming up?
I think we would have already been there if we didn't have had COVID.
Yeah.
We missed a couple of years to be able to have done that. I think it should be there hopefully as early as 24-25. It needs to go through next year in the legislative process, but I think our staff is ready to do it. We wanted to roll it out there with football to try it out, see if it could work. We've done that for 2 years. We have it working in swimming right now as an individual sport for that example. So I think it's very close within, like I say, I expect it to go through the legislative process next year and be ready for 24-25.
Can I say two?
Yeah.
One would be our first meeting that I was ever part of, the planning meeting in the summer after I was hired. I had been a board member and a president of my daughter's soccer club, and in the soccer world, they had this information system where you could communicate with the other clubs and coaches, and everything was on this. And so coming to that meeting, I said, I think we need to move from stacks of paper and forms into an electronic-based system. And that kind of got the ball. And I can't take credit for what Wes has done because he put this whole thing together with CIFSS Home. But it was to bring the idea and the possibility of moving from a papered, where we had files and files, school files.
Thank goodness for that too, because the amount of faxes we were doing, waiting for everything, sending. Oh my gosh, that was.
Well, we had a gal we hired who looked over at those things recently, and a year ago and said, "What are those?" She didn't even know what they were. We had these huge fax machines, and they were going you come in the morning and there would just be stacks of paper. So at least to get the thought going about moving in that direction, which is it's reinvented what we do, and it's great, and it'll continue to get better. The second thing I think was partly from the basketball advisory committee, and that is the advent of the open division in multiple sports. We've done it in tennis, we do it in basketball, and there's some of the other sports that have jumped on board as well, to where we were able to isolate and really bring focus to a group of teams, and also by doing that, creating more balance in some of the upper divisions by pulling those really elite teams out, and the idea of an open division. And I think it's been well received, and I think other sports have jumped on board with it as well.
Well, you guys have no doubt come up with a lot of great ideas and done a lot of great things. So we definitely appreciate you too and all the work you've done. We are now at the point where we do some fast action questions. Rob, you have done this before. You're an old pro at it.
Like, you better be ready.
You better be ready.
Bring your A game.
There's some serious topics here.
Right.
So
you're going to have to be ready.
All right, Ryan, are you set?
I'm ready.
Okay, I want to have you go first because you haven't done it, and you know, Rob thinks he's a pro. So, all right,
So you're going to ask me a question. I'm just answering.
Rapid fire.
Whatever.
Right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Most difficult championship to run?
Track and field.
Ooh. I ran our league track and field for a long time. I would agree with that.
3-ring circus.
Rob, same?
Swimming.
Same idea.
A full week of a lot of hours, thousands of swimmers. Wrestling is tough too.
Most difficult championship to win?
Basketball.
Baseball.
Both really tough. Favorite lunch spot you're going to miss going to?
Nick's Deli in Los Alamitos.
Right next to our office.
That's the next question, I think.
Yeah. Get ready. Go ahead. Same?
No. Shakey's Bunch of Lunch.
Oh, Shakey's.
Here in Cypress.
Yeah, right down.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, how many breakfast burritos do you eat a week from Nick's?
Every meeting has Nick's burritos.
Whatever we have
and everybody loves
meeting.
them. Everybody loves them.
How do you not?
I know. He's a great guy. Nick's a great guy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
if you haven't been there,
Well,
I don't know who you are. You got to get to Nick's Deli.
I just saw the other day they had a machaca burrito, and we've never had the machaca, which is my favorite. I've been to 15 years. I never had one machaca burrito from there.
Sounds like I know what you're doing tomorrow.
Nick's an old St. Anthony guy. He knows all about CIF.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
Biggest joker in the CIF office. Who does practical jokes most fun?
Biggest joker.
You got to have
That's
fun.
a serious office.
You got to have CIF fun, don't you?
I would say the funniest person is Tom Simmons.
Yeah. That's what I would say too. Tom Simmons.
Yeah, because he can one-line them with the best of them.
Yeah.
You throw a movie out there and he's going
He knows every.
Yeah.
I would have said Tom.
He would know the triple Lindy, too.
He would know the triple Lindy. He would know the dialogue before and after
Exactly.
the entire
Tom's,
discussion.
Yeah.
For you on this one first, can anyone beat Reiner in a free throw contest at the office?
No.
No chance. Anybody even close?
No.
Okay.
No, there's no skills there at all. Rich Shear used to coach basketball, but Reiner would wipe the floor with him.
Yeah, I figured.
No question.
So, and then for you, can Rob still throw a ball hard enough to like throw batting practice?
Well, he did throw out the first pitch at a couple of games, and he did groove it pretty good. So I think yes.
How was it the next day? Did he come to the office going, "No, I'm a little sore"?
Little wing was a little sore, I think.
He's going to be coaching in retirement. Who needs a BP pitcher?
Right. I used to throw 600 pitches a day back in the day. So,
for good or bad, what school's been on your speed dial the most?
Cypress for sure.
It's an easy answer, right? We call it at least 3 times a day.
You know, it's hard to say because there are schools that we end up talking to more, but then there's those that want to talk to us and have the questions and stuff like that. And actually, we encourage that. Like, we want schools to. Reiner mentioned it earlier. We wanted them to pick the phone up and call us. He says this every time we would be in front of schools at our workshops. That's why we're there. Like, there's no dumb question. There's no, I'm sorry to bother you. This is why we're here. And so I think there's probably a lot of them, but, not so much that it's a negative on our speed dial. It's more about there are schools and ADs that do call us more than others. And we're fine with it because, again, that's our job. And we've got a bunch of ex-ADs sitting in that office. So why not try to help?
And there's a big turnover in athletic directors,
yeah.
so they have a lot of questions, and I hate when they say, I hate to bother you with this call, because they're really, like I said, you're actually keeping us employed by making these calls, but that's what we're there for, and there aren't dumb questions, but there is a big turnover in athletic directors, so you're always having to try and train and get the people on board.
And one thing I really do think is important is that the people that I had a chance to meet, and I know you have had the chance to meet, and that has been the single most incredible part of this experience, because coming from the areas I was in, or you guys are in, or you were in, we met our fellow ADs and coaches. We knew the people in our area. We knew the people in our league and our district. And they were great people. There were some really good people doing wonderful things with kids. And then when you get in a spot like this, and you get the chance to meet these people from all over the place, from San Luis Obispo to San Clemente to Arizona and Nevada, that to me, has just been incredible to watch and be part of, meeting people that are really, really great for kids. And so that's something I take away from this, that I just really have valued and treasured, is just the respect that I've had for some of these just great people in lots of places that do great things.
Back on the phones, I remember you once mentioning you're always going to have someone answer the phone at the CIS.
Yes.
It's never going to be an answering
That's
machine.
right. That's right.
And you have held to that as
That's
well.
correct.
So you can call and actually get some.
There will be a live person. You will not get, if you know your party's extension. I won't mention it. There's a section office in our state where if you call and it says, if you're a parent, go call your school. On a recorded message machine. That's not going to be us. We talk to the parents too. Yeah. And I always like to say to our schools, we're all in this against the parents together. And we lock our arms together and go after the parents when we need to go after them. And that's fine. And we're going to support our schools. And that Reiner said earlier, our schools are our clients. And those are that's who's with us. And that's who we're going to support and work for.
Most of the time when we're getting parents, it's after you folks have spent countless time and they're just not getting. They're getting the right answer, but it's not. And so
we're not the final. We're not the final decision maker.
Exactly.
So we can tell them what it is,
and they're going to be fired up or whatever. And that's part of doing a good job in this position, is that you have to be able to diffuse situations, and you have to have a perspective of, as Rob mentioned, 560 schools, and coming out of South Orange County into here. And then I remember my first phone call when I was on the job was from a superintendent from Palos Verdes area. I'm going, oh my gosh, the superintendent? I'm talking to the superintendent. But then you have a bunch of small schools, all different sizes. You have schools of certain faiths that, they have different day of respite, and never heard of those things when you're in your little bubble at your school, and now it's the big picture. It's the ability to get above the whole section and make decisions that are the best for everybody, and that's the learning piece of it.
All right, pressure question: Sodenheimer or Fryer? Got to make a choice.
Fryer.
Oh, wow, that was so easy.
Well, and I'll
be
tell
sure
you
to tag
it's fair. It's fair, Eric. If you ever watch this,
He's watching it.
What I like about Steve is he approaches whatever it is open-mindedly. I think Eric has a tendency, and I've told him this, so I'm not. He has a tendency to already have his story written before he asks you a question, and regardless of what you tell him or whatever you would say, his narrative is his narrative, and that has disappointed me at times, because I just feel like, you need all the facts. You need to do a little bit of investigative journalism, if you will, and then obviously draw your conclusions. But if you've already got a narrative that you want to spin, and it doesn't matter whatever you're asking about or whatever is added to that, because you're going to stay on that narrative, I think that's something I've seen from him that I really haven't seen from Steve. He's pretty open-minded, and he calls it what he calls it. Yeah. Steve is an honest guy, and
good guys, both of them. But
I
would agree. Steve seems more of an orange. He's really into here, and he's just so positive when you talk to him about stuff, and he really kind of draws into some of the philosophies that you guys in the schools have. Is he really cares about kids, and it comes through when you talk to him.
Yeah, it's been fun getting to know Eric, because I didn't really know him being in Orange County. I'd known Steve since I was coaching, so we've had a relationship for many, many years. But I had always heard, and I remember the first time he and Tom got into there was always some entertaining conversation. Tom's voice would go up, and they was just bantering back and forth. And I didn't know who this guy was. And all of a sudden he walks in and this is the guy. But I've got, I've learned more about him and kind of what he's like. And it's just a different style. I'm more of the Steve Fryer, where's the story? Let me find it, as opposed to, I think this is the story. Let me find it and make my story what I think it is. I just think there's two different ways of doing it.
Well, you both know our football coach, Rick Feldman, and you know our baseball coach, John Weber, and sometimes big personalities. If those two guys got in an argument, who would win?
Well, Feldman, I think, would be able to stay on point and be able to discuss the issues and argue about the issues. Weber's going to go off the rails and call him whatever he calls him personally and kind of move away from the issue, and kind of the emotion will heat up a little bit, I think, with John. But, it would be a good one. I think it would be a good one. They're certainly worthy adversaries, but I just feel like Rick might be a little bit more on point, where John would let the heat of the moment get over the actual issue you're talking about. It'd be more about the guy he's talking to.
I would agree with Rob. Baseball guys can go off the handle pretty quick.
So this is an easy one. Then who's louder?
Well, I brought Weber onto the baseball advisory committee, and for your Cypress fans, as John transitioned into the head baseball job here, I don't know that he saw the big picture as well, and he at the beginning was really not quite understanding why, if he lost a coin flip, that he had to go to Paso Robles, and even though he was the number 2 seed in the division, and so but that's why I invited him to join the committee, because you don't want to have people that just go along with everything or aren't willing to speak up. And John, I respect him for that. So I had him join the advisory committee when I was and then at one time when you all moved to a 7-team league, and he was in there, and he was in charge of like scheduling all the teams, and I'm looking at him and I said, you mean the guy that was railing about the coin flips? You're now the guy making the schedule for everybody. Like you're the collaborator. You're the guy. But I've seen and I don't want this to come out wrong, but I mean I've seen growth in John. I've seen John, and that's why you want people who initially, as they get going, they won't maybe understand what it's all about or what the big picture really is, and so you want to get those people into the process. You want to get them involved so they see it. And I think John walking into that room of baseball advisory committee coaches and seeing who was in that room and looked around and went, oh, this is an impressive group. Mm-hmm. And I know, the basketball committee or the soccer committee, I mean, you get the opportunity to bring the best. Yeah. And I know that had an impact on him. And so we've known each other a long time. And I know Rick as well, and I have great respect for him and your wrestling coach and John and many of them that I've known over the time I've been involved. But I don't want to make this all about John Weber, but I've seen a great growth in John Weber, and I'm kind of proud of that in a way, because I know by introducing him to some other things and some other people, he's become a real leader in the baseball community. I mean, he's a very well respected coach, and I think being on our advisory committee has helped in that regard. And so as I said, that's been a fun part of this job too, is to take people who maybe initially you'd never see as people that would be willing to get involved and roll their sleeves up. And how do we make the Southern section better? Well, John's one of those guys, and I respect him for that.
We're done with the fast action. Before we say our goodbyes, do you have any final thoughts or anything for our 7 viewers community here?
Thank you for having us. It's been great. This has been a lot of fun. People ask, you're counting your days and this and that, and we still have championships going on. So, that will all come. And but it's been a good run. 23 years in teaching and 15 years here, and I've enjoyed it. I've been blessed.
And I thank you guys, because I've enjoyed our relationship and all the years we spent together, because you're doing, again, the great work every day, and I respect that a lot. For me, the same thing, get a lot of questions about what's next, but we still have a week here of championships, and then a week from Saturday, my daughter gets married in Virginia, and he'll be heading out there as well with his wife, and we'll be out there for, that ceremony and all that, so we're excited. And then maybe after the wedding's over, my wife will actually want to talk about something about retirement and what we might do, but I don't think till we can get through that wedding, there's a whole lot of conversation about me, and that's fine. I'm good with it. But I'm grateful, very grateful, and I thank you guys for everything that you do and for having us and so forth. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, and before we wrap up the final, on behalf of ourselves here in our athletic programs, we just want to say thank you to you guys. Give a little something for you. and all your hard work and efforts
Appreciate
and
that.
support that you've given us throughout the years. We really do appreciate it. All you guys have done.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Reiner Wulf and Rob Wigod for being here today. Thanks to our sponsors, Subs and Grubs and Coach's Corner for supporting the show. Get out to Coach's Corner and celebrate this year's success. We have a lot of success this year with our programs. Next week, we're going to highlight that in our final show. We'll celebrate the seasons. We're going to celebrate our CIF diving champion, Isabella Chen. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all next week.